We had the privilege of speaking with Reverend Dr. Elizabeth Boatwright at the annual PPI Rendezvous. Libby is a true life force and a bona fide expert in the field of end-of-life transitions. Libby's recent book, The Last Things We Talk About, is an illuminating source of knowledge and helps families get their arms around finances, personal property, and legal and medical affairs. Libby was quick to see that covet can be a living record that bonds one generation with the next. And yes, Libby is now a covet user. Here is that conversation that we had with Dr. Elizabeth Boatwright.
We're here today with Dr. Libby Boatwright. She was a breakout speaker, and we're impressed with the conversation that you and Peter moderated for it. I'm eager to read your latest book, so thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about your history with PPI?
Sure. Well, I was introduced to PPI through Peter. It's an incredible organization because it's so interdisciplined. And, you know, you see estate attorneys, and you see social workers, and you see people like myself who are more kind of like a deaf doula, if you will, and others that are collaborating together and really coming together for good reasons. I mean, it really is people-oriented and people-purposeful. So that's why I love it.
Well, we're new members. We're really impressed with the cross-section of people that we've met as well, and the conversations have been stimulating. Tell us what motivated you to write this book.
Oh my goodness. Well, a lot of things. First of all, COVID. I had time to write something. But basically, my family history. My mother and father died within a year of each other. And as much as we loved them, they left chaos. It was not organized. Most of what they had was boxes and boxes and boxes of things that were not in any kind of inventory. So I thought, wouldn't it be better if we had a system of putting things together for people? So when you die, everything's there. Your family is delighted that you put everything in order, and they don't have as much work to do. I call it the treasure hunt. Most people, when they die, leave so much chaos that it takes 18 months to 2 years to really sort it all out. And this book is primarily saying, you don't need to do that. Let's do this work now. So when you die, your heirs say thank you. And that's a little funny.
So tell us about the patterns that you see as people are coming to the end of their life and haven't done the work.
Most of them are very fearful. They know that they need to get something done, and they really don't have a lot of knowledge about the medical universe. So what this book does is basically help to define, what it is like, the cast of characters, the people in a hospital, and how you face that with advocacy. I think one of the things we miss in a lot of the hospitals is people being able to stand up for themselves. And one of the reasons that bankruptcy is so prevalent in our country right now is medical bills. So how can we solve that problem by creating a good platform for people to stand up for themselves, get the care they want, and end their life well? And that's what the book is about.
Terrific. What other dynamics do you experience with the family members as we enter that end of life with a matriarch or a patriarch?
A lot of confusion because they don't know their roles and they don't know who's going to be the person to manage these things. Often they are very concerned about what's in it for me. Do I get money? Do I get something out of this? And really, it's up to the person that is in the process of dying to make those decisions. So if you make them early, then you'll have that confusion. Everybody's on the same page. But what happens most of the time is they wait until the last minute. Then they let the doctors and the hospitalists do all the work for them. They end up with a huge bill. And the family is very confused because they can't understand that when a person dies, there's bills the day after. That they have other expenses that are just overwhelming. So a big part of this is to say, plan ahead. Decide how you want to go, literally. Do your advance directive, do your HIPAA forms, do your PULSE forms, which is for an emergency. Get all of those things in place, and then you have agents and people to speak for you, and you cannot speak for yourself. And that's the whole thing.
Terrific. We've been thinking about our venture with Covet, especially in the context of the conversations that we've had here, as a little bit of a digital hearth, is a way to get ahead of it. to facilitate these tough conversations, to make sure that all the assets in those legal documents and healthcare directives and HIPAA documents are in a digital place, they're centralized, and they're accessible by other family members. I understand you're one of our latest users, so
I was able to put everything in less than an hour, and that just made me so glad, because a lot of the platforms you see, I won't name any of them, but they're just much more complicated, and Covet is so easy. You just upload and it's there. So I'm very much in favor of that kind of digital platform. It certainly speaks to the different generations, people who are more digitally oriented rather than paper oriented. It keeps everything in a very locked up place. So just those that need to know can get there. And I think it organizes it beautifully. If you use graphics and you have these nice numbers to look at, and you say, wow, am I worth that much? That's great. So it's very fun. I really, really enjoyed putting my information in.
terrific. Well, we hope it's a galvanizing idea that pulls families together in difficult times. But we also think of it as kind of a keeping a living record of sentimental backstories with personal property and things like that. So we see it as kind of an ongoing, regular thing as opposed to a transactional one-time event.
Really more like a marathon rather than a sprint.
Correct.
You add things as you go along. And I love the idea that you can put the personal items in there, because very few trusts or wills have any provision for that. And I think for a lot of people, there's sentimental value to certain things like wedding rings or jewelry or certain things that generally don't go into a trust. They make a general provision for it. This can itemize things. You can say, and Johnny will get this, and CP will get this, and whatever. And that's really a huge boost, because a lot of people don't know that that's possible. They figure that they're going to meet at a nice restaurant. They're all going to decide everything's going to be perfect, and they all decide the right thing. That's not the way it works in families. So if you designate in advance, you have the opportunity to do what we would call like a big briefing, or you would be doing something like a request, and you're saying, "I love you, and this is what I want to do." That's good. That's where it should be.
I don't know if we could end the interview like this on short notice with a better punctuation point. Thanks so much. We really appreciate it.
Oh, it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
And I'm going to read this on my flight home. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Okay.